All right, let's dive in. I want you to think about something for a second. The fact that you even exist, right now, listening to this, well, it might just be the single greatest miracle in the entire universe. That's the terrifying and kind of wonderful point of the book we're talking about today, Bill Bryson's A Short History of Nearly Everything. Now, to really get a handle on just how wild that idea is, we kind of have to rewind and unlearn a few things. Things we all picked up back in school.
So, remember high school science? Yeah, me too. What pops into your head? For most of us, it's probably, memorizing formulas, maybe a slightly traumatic frog dissection, and of course, that classic line we all had to learn. The mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. But did any of it feel connected to, like, us? Probably not. And see, that's the whole problem right there. We got the facts of science, but we completely missed the story. We learned the periodic table, sure, but not the incredible story of how everything came to be. We memorized parts of a cell, but not the epic journey from nothing, all the way to a conscious mind. The real story, the one that matters, isn't about passing a test. It's about the mind-bending, absolutely staggering improbability that you are even here to think about.
And that's where our guide for this whole thing, Bill Bryson, comes in. Now, the funny thing is, he wasn't a scientist at all. He was a travel writer, and one day he just had this realization. He knew basically nothing about the planet he'd been traveling on his whole life. So what did he do? He spent the next 3 years on a completely different kind of journey, basically bugging the smartest people on Earth until they explained, everything.
Okay, so where does Bryson's journey start? It starts by zooming way out. I mean, all the way out to the mind-melting scale of the entire cosmos.
The book kicks off with this wild idea. For you to be you, trillions and trillions of little atoms just drifting around had to somehow find each other. Then they had to agree to work together in this super specific, super complicated way to make you. And they have to keep doing it every single second of your life. It's like you're this temporary, walking, talking, cosmic miracle.
It's almost impossible for our brains to really get the scale of space. We picture the solar system as this busy place with planets zipping all around. But it's not at all. Imagine this. If the Earth was shrunk down to the size of a single pea, just a little pea in your hand, Jupiter would be over 1,000 feet away. That's like 3 football fields. And Pluto? That would be 1.5 miles away. The truth is, space is mostly, nothing. And hey, if you think that's empty, get ready for this. In that same pea-sized Earth model, our closest star, Proxima Centauri, would be 10,000 miles away. 10,000 miles. The universe isn't just big, it's defined by how staggeringly empty it is.
But here's the kicker, and this is where it gets really weird. All that emptiness, it's not just out there in space. It's in here, inside you, inside me. Every single atom that makes us up is 99.999% empty space. Think of an atom as a giant sports stadium. The nucleus would be like a single fly buzzing in the middle, and the electrons would be a few tiny specks way up in the nosebleed seats. The rest? Nothing.
So what does that even mean? It means you're basically made of nothing, structured nothingness. The only reason you aren't falling right through your chair is because the electrical fields of your atoms are pushing against the atoms of the chair. It's a force field. You're basically a collection of empty space that somehow learned to think.
Okay. So the universe is a giant, empty, kind of weird place. Fine. But at least here on Earth, our little blue marble, we're safe and sound, right? Right? Well, not so fast.
Bryson has this great way of putting it. We live on this paper-thin, fragile crust that's just floating on a giant sea of molten rock. And, sometimes that rock gets angry. Take supervolcanoes. Yeah, that's a thing. That beautiful Yellowstone National Park you see in pictures, it's basically just the lid on a ginormous, active supervolcano. And, oh yeah, it's statistically overdue to erupt.
So what would happen if that thing actually blew its top? Bryson talked to a geologist who put it with this perfect, chilling understatement. He said it wouldn't just be a bad day. No, it would be a civilization-ending event. It would blanket continents in ash and trigger a volcanic winter for years. So basically, we're caught between two massive threats. We've got these ticking time bombs, these super volcanoes simmering right under our feet. And at the same time, we've got the constant, random threat of a giant rock falling on us from the sky. The astronomers Bryson talked to pretty much said, yeah, we can't really stop them. We just have to hope for the best. So our planet, it's not a safe haven. It's a cosmic hazard zone.
All right, so the universe is mostly empty space, and our own planet is secretly trying to kill us. In the middle of all this emptiness and violence, how on earth did something as delicate and complex as life even begin? This next part is maybe the most famous analogy in the whole book. See, for life to even get started, you need proteins. They're the basic building blocks, and they had to form just by random chance. The odds of that happening? Well, it's been compared to a whirlwind tearing through a junkyard and accidentally assembling a perfect, fully functioning Boeing 747. It's impossible, and yet, here we are. So how do we figure all this stuff out? It definitely wasn't some neat and tidy process. The real history of science is filled with, well, with obsessive, weird, and sometimes totally reckless people. I'm talking about guys like Henning Brand, who discovered phosphorus by boiling his own urine, gallons of it. Or Isaac Newton, who literally stuck a needle into his own eye socket just to see what it would do to his vision. Seriously. You know, we have this picture of scientists in our heads, right? These calm, logical people in white lab coats. But the truth is, science was pushed forward by messy, competitive, brilliant, and sometimes dangerous humans. They were just driven by this insane curiosity, and they didn't care what it cost them personally. So this is where it all comes together. We've got the emptiness of space, the violence of our planet, the sheer lottery ticket of life itself. So what's the big takeaway from all of this? Well, it might just be this one single, sobering number. Of all the species that have ever lived on Earth, over 99.9% of them are now extinct. Gone. Think about that. Extinction isn't some rare thing. It's the normal outcome. Here's a way to picture our place in all this. Imagine the entire history of the Earth is squeezed into a single 24-hour day. Okay? The first simple life doesn't even appear until 4 in the morning. The dinosaurs don't stomp onto the scene until 10 o'clock at night. And us, humans, all of our recorded history, the pyramids, the empires, the internet, everything, it all happens in the final single second before the clock strikes midnight. So what this all points to is survival is the exception, not the rule. We are the great exception. In this unbelievably vast, dark, and seemingly lifeless universe, we, as far as we can tell, the only thing that can look up at the stars and ask, why? And so that leaves us with the book's big, lingering question. It throws out all that boring textbook science and replaces it with this deep sense of awe. If just being here, if our existence is this 1 in a trillion miracle, this tiny, brief flicker of awareness against an eternity of impossible odds, then what now? What do you do with that?